Hello. One of the things I'm most mindful of with the work that I do, and I guess the freedom that I have to talk about how I feel, about what people should and shouldn't be doing, and what organisations could be doing but aren't doing, is not everybody has the ability to be so free with their views. And it was brought home to me when, I'm not sure if you saw it, but I was quoted extensively in an article that the BBC wrote about the burden on Black people and people of colour who are basically meant to be the experts on anti-racism, right? And you know, I've talked about this a lot, particularly in my early videos, and companies kind of looking left to right to the, you know, to the few Black people to go, oh my God, like, can you fix this? Can you? You know, the resurgence of energy around employee network groups, and not only to create spaces for Black people to feel like, you know, they can share their stories and their experiences, but more so they can help the organisations get their proverbial together, right? So I was very honest in my views, as you will expect nothing less. I did not mince my words. It's really funny for me to see some of my phrases. I was like, oh, the journalist really used it, but you know what, it's fine. However, when I think about some of the feedback that I've had from that, particularly from Black people who aren't leaders, they're not, you know, in like senior positions, and they have to keep telling me that they would love to be able to talk about their experiences, because when they read some of the things that I said that were quoted in the article, they were like, how did you know? Because that is my life right now. Do you know what I mean? And I know some people still, because they always come and say, you know, well, like, Shereen, you know, when you say X, Y, and Z, like, how do you know it's like still, how do you know it's that bad? Because I genuinely have a sense that things are moving on and we're making improvements. And I'm like, no. That is not the case. So unfortunately, I do feel vindicated when people are still coming to me with their stories and going, oh my God, like, I wish I could like copy and paste the whole article. Do you know what I mean? And just send it, blast it on an email to my whole organisation, because that is how bad it is, and that is how badly the Black employees are being treated. Because again, it's not coming from a place of thoughts. Like, people are not thinking through how they approach this. So what do? You do what's easiest, and what's easiest is you look to the Black people in your business and go, well, you must know what's up because you've got the lived experience, right? Help us with our diversity and inclusion, still calling it that. Do you know what I mean? Help us, you know, why aren't you engaging with us when we're running this program? Why aren't you interested when we're asking if you want to be involved in this? Like, what's all that about? Because if you want it to be better, you've got to participate. So there's this assumption that because we're Black, because these colleagues are Black, right? And things need to change, things need to be fixed. So it's a given that they should be not only putting up their hand and volunteering, but it's a given that they should want to put themselves forward, be happy to do the extra work because it's for the greater good. Like, listen, this is literally what is going on. And so I guess when people see like the energy and the intensity that I bring when I talk about this, is because I have examples. Like, every time I have examples. And so rather than me just getting those and going, you know, and literally it is to the extent people like, can you do a video on this? Can you do? I was like, yes. Because I have the freedom to be able to say what they cannot say. And you know what it's like. Like, I've been there. You know, when you're the one, you know, telling the leadership team that we should do this, and this, and they pay no attention, and somebody external, and they're like, oh my God, I listened to this podcast last night, and you know, they're like, but they said exactly the same thing I said. But when it comes from an external person, it's easier. And that's kind of, it's a little bit of that, but also there's fundamentally people are just like, I can't afford to risk my job. You know, if I'm seen really saying what I really want to say. I can't even publicly send you this message as a comment. I have to message you privately. Like I have in here, like listen, reams and reams of this. You know, why did I want to record this video? I wanted to record this video as like a reality check, you know, that we are still getting a pushback to the fight for us to be treated equally and our voices to be heard. There are still plenty of people within and external to organisations who just wish we would shut up now. They're tired of hearing about Black Lives Matter. They're tired about the conversations of equality and racism. They've reverted back to the same, you know, it's always about race, isn't it, you know? Isn't this enough now? Like, and I'm here to say no, it isn't enough, clearly. But also, we have to recognise that not everybody can speak to, I'm not going to use the word reckless because I'm not reckless from that point of view, but you know what I mean, they don't have the freedom of expression to be able to do that. So that's why I do what I do, because I can, because I know what it's like to feel like your hand and your mouth is literally tied. That has been my life for 17 years. So we can't judge those colleagues who can't use their voice, even if they're the most senior of individuals. Like, don't get me wrong, it frustrates me, but I get it. I get it. And I guess that's the opportunity for those of us who do have platforms, who run our own businesses and care enough about this to go, I'm going to use my platform to speak truth to power, you know? So yeah, there's not, you know, but it's so disappointing that after all of this, like there's still some people just not engaging their brains. Like, I'm like, come on. We can listen, this is not going to be solved in a 6-month, 12-month strategic plan. It isn't. But there has to be more thought and there has to be more care, because there's still way too many of these stories, these examples, these excerpts from emails and stuff that's going on that says that, you know, there's a lot of leadership teams, HR teams, line managers who have not got the memo. So just because you might be talking about it for a few months, just because you might be reading things in the newspapers or online, does not equate to fundamental actions being taken. It doesn't.